Hello and welcome to our Joining Live question and answer session. I'm Della McDonald, I'm a store manager from Kirkburton Co-op. I'm also a member on the Co-op Young Members Group and I have a seat on the Co-op National Members Council representing younger members. We are joined here today by Nick Crofts, President of the National Members Council, and Steve Murrells, Chief Executive. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks, Dora.
Thank you.
No worries. So my role this evening is to ask questions that you've all put forward that you'd like to see answered. We've had hundreds of questions put forward, so we've tried to identify some common themes and we'll put through as many questions as we can over the next 25 minutes. We'd like to keep the responses as short and snappy, as quick as possible, so that we can get through as many of the members' questions as we possibly can. Also, we'd like to save some time at the end of this session to put forward some questions that you might have as we go through this. So please make sure you put your questions forward in the comments box on the YouTube page and we will try to add those at the end if we have time. So thank you for your time this evening, Steve and Nick. I hope you're okay for us to get started with the questions. So our first question is for you, Steve, and the theme is Brexit. So it's been submitted by James McMeekan from Washington, and he would like to know what provisions have been put in place for the impact of a no-deal Brexit and what percentage of co-op produce comes from the EU.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Stella. It's the most topical question, isn't it, Brexit? We've been planning Brexit since March of this year. And to give some confidence to James, the work's been led by Andy Perry and a team of individuals, and we've secured as much stock as we can. We've secured ambient stock, in other words, grocery, long life provision product, and that's put us in as good a state as we can be in the event of a no deal. Clearly, things have moved pretty quick. We're now looking at the 31st of January next year. We'll have to decide whether or not we build stock again at the end of Christmas time, but we're well placed, and I think in a slightly better place than most because we'll source more UK produce than anybody else. 30% of what we require is imported into the UK, so it is a big impact to the organisation at a high level number. But where we might face some challenges will be in fresh foods, in the area of top fruit, so apples, pears, very highly perishable. But we're in good shape, well placed, and if we do have a no deal, then I think people should be able to get what they need when they come to the co-op.
Brilliant, thank you. So question number 2 is for you, Nick, and it's around diversity and gender. So Miss A.T. from Stourbridge would like to know what is the male-female percentage split of frontline colleagues and how is this reflected at the executive and director level?
Okay, it's a great question. It's something that we're really passionate about at the co-op and particularly from the Members' Council, as you will know. So there is a majority of colleagues that work in the organisation are female. 55% are female, 45% male. The majority of those colleagues, though, are at the in stores where you have a great number of men, where the balance is in the other direction, is at kind of mid-levels in the organisation. But interestingly, when you get to the top, Steve's executive team, that's majority female. So I think your top team is
5 ladies, 2 men, so myself and Matt Atkins are an endangered species.
Good, that's as it should be. And interestingly, on the board as well, the non-exec board, that is 50-50. The council was, when we were first created, we were 2/3 male, 64% male. And that was a big diversity priority for us in putting that right. And we are now majority female on the council, and I'm very proud of that.
Wow, that's brilliant. So question 3 then is for you again, Steve, and it's around colleague pay. So Martin Peake from Newport would like to know, does the co-op have the intention of becoming a real living wage employer? If so, when do you expect to achieve this for all co-op employees?
So the first thing I think to say, and really important, pay is one of the most important things for me. It's something that I've championed since being the group chief exec, and for a number of years now we've increased frontline pay on a multi-million basis. We haven't made a commitment to move to the living wage yet. We've certainly committed to move to the national living wage, which will get us to £9 pay rate by 2020. Last year we invested 29 million in colleagues' pay. I suspect we will invest another large amount during 2020 and 21 and 22. For every £1.5 increase, you are looking at multi-million pounds investment. It's a lot of money, but it's the right thing for us to do, because without colleagues, then actually what is the co-op? So we're fully behind it. We haven't yet committed to the living wage. I think it's right for us to focus on the national wage and to get ourselves in a place where we're able to reward all of the frontline team, who will then look after customers better than any of us could do.
Brilliant, thank you for that. So question 4 is for you, Nick, and it looks at fair trade ethics. So Mark Bryant from Whitley Bay would like to know, how do you balance the co-op's ethical values like fair trade alongside the need to be commercially successful? I noticed that you often advertise deals which don't feature products from our ethical ranges.
It's a great question, isn't it? And thanks, Mark, for sending it in. So we are hugely proud of our long-standing commitment to fair trade. We were selling fair trade products before there was a fair trade mark even. We are the world's biggest retailer of fair trade wine. We're the largest convenience retailer of fair trade, and our members have repeatedly voted for us to maintain that commitment, and that's exactly what we're doing. And the in a marketplace actually where many of our competitors are stepping away from fair trade, there are these kind of fair trade light, fair trade pretend, so-called ethical labels that are just much less good and do much less good for producers. So we're really proud of it. How is it that we are able to continue that commitment to fair trade? Well, we've got to be really keen on price, of course we have. And so the promotions that we run have got to be cost effective in order for us to be able to maintain that commitment to fair trade. But I'm very proud of the work that we've done in that area, and we should continue to do more.
Brilliant, thank you for that. And so question 5 then is for you again, Steve, and it looks at food stores with deliveries in mind for our customers. And TJ Brandy Hibbert from Sandwich has put this question forward. So when will Co-op offer a full delivery service? I love Co-op, but with a physical disability, I'm limited to what I can take home from the store.
Yeah. So certainly since I joined in 2012, we've operated a home delivery service across about 350 stores, where you go into the store, you purchase your items, and then we deliver them to you later in the day. As we've now become arguably the best convenient business in the UK, the work that Joe's team's focused on is more about convenience home delivery. So, you know, whether it be on an e-cargo electric bike, whether it be on a bicycle, or who knows, maybe a tuk-tuk eventually that's powered by electricity. We've tended to focus on the small home delivery. I think Chris Conway, who leads this piece of work, is seeing whether or not we can develop a wider choice of home delivery where the basket size is a lot bigger, but recognising that that's going to be in only a set number of stores where they would carry a larger range. And so we're not going to walk away from it yet. We've got to find a way that actually allows us to keep doing it, but do it in a more eco-friendly way than we've done in the past.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And so question 6 is for you, Nick, and it's around retail crime. So it's from John Harris in Belfast. And the question is, what is being done to protect staff in store from violence, and how are we actually trying to deter and reduce retail crime?
It's a really important question. And again, an issue that has been absolutely championed by the Members' Council. We've got many colleagues that serve on the Members' Council, of which you are one, as you know well. And we have a very unvarnished sense of how terrible this can be for very many of our store colleagues. And it's right that we've championed it, and it's right that the organisation has got really taken very seriously the determination to tackle it. So we're spending serious amounts of money on new technology. The headsets have been an important part. There's the remotely monitored CCTV. I had the opportunity to go and visit CCOM, which is the kind of the HQ of this place. We work closely in partnership with the police, and the arrangement that we have with CCOM is that they will very often put all the evidence together about repeated shoplifters and even violent criminals, where the police often don't take it as seriously as they should. I think Joe has been fantastic in arguing that these are not victimless crimes, and used the evidence that's been generated from colleagues to submit to government to campaign to change the law, working in close partnership with USDOR, the trade union as well. But beyond just simply trying to deal with the individual instances and the individual criminals, it's right and it's appropriate for the co-op as a co-op to try and tackle the root causes. So what is it that causes people to get involved in crime and violence? Things like drugs, things like unemployment, and so working in communities and in partnership with organisations. We announced a partnership with the Dan Lola Taylor Trust at the AGM, didn't we?
Yeah.
And there's a variety of innovative partnerships like that. So it's taken tremendously seriously. I think we are ahead of much of the rest of the retail sector, and it's important that we all work together.
And I think that's the really important point, isn't it? Which is all the effort and work that Joe's team's doing, and presenting that at the Conservative and the Labour conferences, and going into government. If we can actually help others deal with the same problem and find a common cure, then that's what co-ops do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great work, one heck of a lot of stuff still to do, but it's probably the number one focus for the food team.
Brilliant, yeah, I'd agree. And so question 7 brings us on to the topic of plastics. And this question is for you, Steve, from Sue Harris from Corwin. So when is the co-op going to reduce its use of plastic? It is very disappointing that there's very little I can buy that is not wrapped in non-recyclable plastic. Even the fruit and veg is wrapped.
Yes. So there's not wanting to kind of give a tour of history, but we said back in the AGM of, I think it was 2018, that we would get to 80% recyclability packaging on co-op brand by 2020, and that we would finish the journey by 2025. Roll forward to now, actually Michael and Catherine Higgs and Ian have got us to a place where we'll fully roll out by 2023. And they are on schedule to get to 80% by next year. So they've actually turned the volume up and they're going faster. They've got to make this balance between recognising that plastic does good on one regard. It extends code life, it gives people flexibility, and if you just de-packaged everything away from plastic, you kind of see the balloon get pushed in this way and pop out the other way, and you'd see more food waste being the next issue to try and solve. So what Ian Ferguson and Catherine and Michael are trying to do is to find alternative packaging that still presents and provides code life so that you don't have the problem of waste. Fully focus on the recyclability, fully focus on climate change issues like emissions and the energy use that we power our business. And today all of the energy we use is from recyclable sources. And then try and find an alternative to plastic. When people leap to paper bags, everybody thinks that's good. It's worse. The carbon footprint of using paper and cutting down trees is worse than plastic. This is going to be, I think, a topic that everybody is trying to solve. Within produce, we don't have the space like other retailers to have a wide range of loose product, which then causes us some challenges. But I think it's an important point. We've got to solve it and find alternative ways. And actually, as a complete use of plastic, the co-op's arguably the smallest user of plastic out of all the retailers today.
It's definitely worth noting there. And so question 8 is around new ventures, and it's for you, Nick, and it's from Scott Lee Arledge from Coventry. As a former regular customer of electrical and beds, can you comment on whether there are any new business areas Co-op will likely venture into?
Okay, another good question. Thank you, Scott, or Scott Lee, sorry. We have, well, nobody likes it when we step away from cooperative business solutions. We want a more cooperative world, not a less cooperative world. So it was obviously a cause of regret that we're not in those areas anymore. But we have recently begun our new health product, which is a very innovative app-based solution for repeat prescriptions. We're excited about that. We've had deep involvement from members of the council in thinking about how that might work. And it's a brilliant opportunity for us to kind of really leverage the co-op's reputation and our relationships and the membership base that we have to provide a brilliant service to members and customers. So I think that's got to be the primary focus. I think another interesting thing will be how we can be more innovative in introducing new tech solutions in our existing businesses. I thought you were going to talk about your robots, Steve, in Milton Keynes with the delivery pilots.
Starship Troopers.
The Starship Troopers. I want one of those little robots. They're amazing. But there's much more that we can do in food and funeral care and insurance to really improve the experience that members and customers have, to make the jobs and lives of our colleagues that much easier, etc., etc., etc. And I think that's going to be an exciting opportunity
and
for
the
us.
distribution work on insurance with Charles offered,
Of course.
in terms of building on the travel product, which was again very much designed by the council and members. So, we've effectively got 2 start-up businesses in repeat prescriptions and pharmacy, and then the distribution work on insurance. And then we have still a very new business in legal services that is growing like Topsy. So, really exciting stuff. The trick here is when you do venture into new markets, that you give them enough oxygen, but that you move quick, you power them up so that they can except they require some support, but they can move quickly into making a return on members' money. And in all of those 3 areas, I think we've picked the right and interesting market. And pharmacy is a gateway into health, and we've got a good reputation, having been the 3rd largest pharmacist, to get back into that space.
Some exciting times ahead.
Yeah.
So the next question is for you, Steve, and it's around our food stores and self-service checkouts. And the question comes from Sally Childress from Liskeard. I love the friendliness of the Co-op staff and value the face-to-face interactions when paying for shopping. I much prefer this to using a self-service machine. Can you reassure me that Co-op will always offer staff tills as well as self-service checkouts?
Yeah, I mean, I love the service that our colleagues provide, and you'll see it every day in your store. I can sit here today and say there is no plan today to move away totally to self-service. There clearly is a more needed requirement in places like London, Manchester as an example, where very kind of rapid interactions is just commonplace. People don't necessarily value the conversation, they don't have the time, they want to be in and out, and that service is being provided more and more. But we're pretty good now at knowing the types of customers that shop in all of our stores, and we know where we need to put in a long belt, and we know where we need to actually have colleagues there servicing customers and members on a day-to-day basis. So I wouldn't worry, we're not going to suddenly become an Amazon with no colleagues in our stores. I like stores and I like colleagues in them, and I think that's served us well.
Absolutely. So question 10 then is a member input question, and it's for you, Nick. And it's from Adam Hartwell from Wellingborough. What plans are there to allow members to come up with product ideas for Co-op own brand products, for example, Christmas ranges and designs for wrapping paper and cards, etc.?
Okay, another good question. So we have this wonderful innovation here at the Co-op called Join In, and it's an opportunity, a series of opportunities for members to tell us what they think about the things that we should be doing. And we have run pilots exactly of the sort that are envisaged by this question. So we designed the first ever member designed new wine range, which was fantastic. Members had the opportunity to choose the grape, to choose do the label, choose the name, which was Pioneer, obviously, because we've got no imagination in the co-op movement, so of course it was Pioneer. And we've also had opportunities for members to choose our new pizza toppings as part of the range. And I think there's a similar thing on crisps that we've been running of late. So
Crumbs, isn't it? I think the one
Crumbs,
biscuits.
Crumbs was the gingerbread person,
Yeah,
I think.
that's right.
Yeah, or Crumb, was it Crumb? Crumb. So I think this is it's a brilliant idea, and we can do lots more of this. And we had a discussion when I was at the board earlier in the month or last month, exactly about how we should build on and grow this, because to me it's one of the things that makes the co-op a co-op, because it's difficult for us to engage meaningfully with 4.6 million members. So you've got to find lots of different ways to enable that, to make it worthwhile from the perspective of the members. And if you do it in lots of different ways, then lots of different members will find something that they want to engage with. So I think this is a brilliant thing, and we should be doing more of it.
And the numbers speak louder than words, don't they? It's 250,000, I think, interested members have got involved. You know, that feels like we've got some alchemy there that we just need to kind of do more with. So it's a great question.
Absolutely. And so this next question is for you, Steve, and it's around digital, and it's from Tara Barrick from Facebook. This come from. So in future, will there be a co-op app? It would be great to see my points and other information on the app.
So yes, so there's two approaches. There's the co-op web that basically will be the place where how we do things, what we do, our difference comes together as one application, and then there will obviously be apps that will be generated through mobile use, of which clearly Health launched its app recently. We've just launched Member Rewards app, and we will very shortly start to build the app for Cooperate. So it's all going to come in one place, and then you'll have these two ways in which start to build the ecosystem of how all of our businesses will talk and how we'll actually make it really easy for people to understand what we're all about.
Brilliant. So in the name of technology, we've got enough time to go to some live questions that we've had from our members watching online, and I will just access those right now. So we have a question for Steve from Susan, who asks, what is Co-op's online shopping strategy?
Well, we kind of touched on this earlier on, which is I think our future around online e-commerce, certainly in food, is going to be around just around the corner, that last mile delivery for your needs in the evening, and we're seeing that prove really successful with our partners in stores that we're doing it through in Manchester and London, and you'll see that continuing to grow. And Nick talked about the Starship little robots. I think that will be a smaller venture for us. Just could get one to his home and keep him happy.
Yes.
But I think we've got this great chance within electric bikes to create our own fully integrated solution. The whole development online in all of our businesses is key, and we're playing catch up, but we're moving at a real pace. By Q2 latest, you'll be able to go online and book your funeral across all of our choices, rather than just cremation without ceremony. The work that is being done around legal services and also in our insurance business, again, will be very focused in the digital area. And what we've got to do is get the balance between being digital, but also recognising that we've still got branches, funeral branches, we've still got food stores. So getting the combination of the two is really important, but I think it's quite exciting.
Absolutely. And this question is for either of you that wish to
If
answer.
it's difficult, it's going to Nick.
So don't fight over it. And it's from Mike Oldham, who asks, are there plans for the Co-op app to have the membership number barcode on so we can scan our phones instead of our codes?
Yes. So the reason why there's a problem, sorry, you come in.
No.
The reason why there is a problem is that we are going to have to adapt all of our tills to accept the barcode on a mobile phone. If you're a new store, you're fine, but we've got to find a way of retrofitting all of the other stores. So at the moment it's quite clunky, but it's one of those capital choices that we're going through, and of course if we can retrofit every till quickly, then it will be 100% scannable on your phone, which I think most people would want us to do.
Absolutely, definitely I would. And so we've got time for one final question. And it's a question for both of you again, but you'll each have a chance to answer this time.
Oh, good.
I'll go last.
And it's around our food. So it's from Adam Casper from Dagenham, and he would like to know, which is your favourite Co-op product which you'd recommend to members who've logged in to watch this stream today?
So I get to go first.
Go on.
So it's a food product, but it's an unusual one.
Okay.
So I am a real fan of our biological washing powder. And so when we changed the membership scheme and we introduced the 5-in-1 and you get your 5% reward on own brand, I started shopping lots of parts of our own brand range that I'd just never tried before. And the bio washing powder is fantastic. It's really good value, which is a nice way of saying cheap. It's really good value. It smells lovely and it cleans all your clubber. So I'd recommend that to anyone.
Brilliant. Steve?
So I went with my stomach, and you know, if you
Just for a change.
if you haven't tried sushi, Co-op sushi is fantastic. In fact, we are very lucky to have a food development team and to have Briege Donaghy run it for us. She is the best foodie in the entire UK, and what she's done with Michael and with Matt Hood and her team's phenomenal. Try our sushi. It is better than Marks and Spencer sushi, one hell of a lot cheaper. It's just amazing. And I like it. I've just discovered it.
And it's part of the meal deal.
And it's part
And
of
it's
the
part of the meal deal.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I think that's all we've got time for today. Thank you for everyone for submitting their questions, and especially those who have managed to join in live with us today and watch this stream. And it just leaves me to give a huge thanks to both Steve and Nick for joining us this evening and giving up your time. Thank you again to all, and it's been an experience. Speak to you soon.
Thanks to you.